Welcome to Season 4, Episode 43 of the Family Travel Australia podcast. We are Paul, Katie and Jasper from the Feel Good family. Join us as we explore this great country, Australia, its people, places and cultures. Welcome back.
Yes, welcome to the Family Travel Podcast, where we share the latest in RV industry news, road trip travel, camping and caravanning, product reviews, where to go, what to do, and so much more. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, well, I tell you what, we are absolutely buzzing this week.
Ooh, yeah.
Yes, we've got a fantastic episode ahead for you, including an epic road trip travel day of 650 kilometres from where we left you at Cossack on our way down to Cape Range National Park. We camp off grid for a week. We explore Ningaloo Reef, the World Heritage Area. Amazing. And we fall in love as we explore this absolutely natural wonderland.
Just incredible.
Okay, in the newsroom this week, we're talking about no-shows at national parks, and we're also going to talk about Cable Beach being closed to make way for nesting turtles.
Awesome. A jam-packed episode coming up. Let's get into it.
Okay, fantastic. So last week we left you at Cossack. We loved our time there. Beach camping, off-grid, to make our way down to do more of the same.
Yes.
But I tell you what, this location of Cape Range National Park is, I think, the most incredible free camping location along the coast of Western Australia.
Oh, it is absolutely spectacular here. And talk about feeling remote. I mean, to get to Cape Range National Park, you literally have to drive hundreds of kilometres from any direction to come here, unless, of course, you're already in Exmouth. But it is absolutely stunning and should be high on everybody's bucket list to come and experience this World Heritage listed area.
Definitely. Okay. The first 580 kilometres gets us to Exmouth. Now, we actually set off at about 7:30 a.m. in the morning, and that would be our best tip on these longer drive days. This would have to be the longest drive day that we would probably do.
Yeah.
We try and average somewhere around 350, 400 on most travel days when we're in these remote locations.
Yeah.
So this was quite epic. We left nice and early. The fuel was almost hitting $2 a litre for diesel.
It's a bit scary, actually, especially with that long-range fuel tank on and watching that dollar just tick over and over and over and over.
That's right, 140-litre long-range fuel tank on board the Luxie. And, yeah, I said to Kate, ouch, this one's going to be expensive. Yeah, you've got to get over it pretty quickly, though.
Oh, you do. I mean, you need it, right, if you want to keep travelling. And we are thankful for that long-range fuel tank because it certainly does make things so much easier and more manageable out here in these vast expanses of WA.
Just quickly on that is that we average around about 19.5 to 20 litres per 100 kilometres under tow, and then that drops down to 13 or 14 litres per 100 kilometres when we're not towing the van. So if it's really windy, it'll creep up to 22 litres per 100 kilometres. So it is a fairly expensive part of our travel costs is the fuel.
Yes, and I think we found more recently being over in WA and having these big expanses in between our destinations that our fuel expenses are on the increase.
Yeah.
But, hey, it's all part of what we do and we couldn't do it without it.
Exactly. Get over it and get on with it, right? Okay, Exmouth. Now, this really is the place to recharge, refuel, restock, get yourself organised for your week ahead. If you can afford a week into Cape Range National Park, or 2 weeks would be perfect.
Yes.
But a week for us, so we headed straight in. Now, we didn't have any snorkel gear, so fortunately the first shop we found operated by Bron.
Yes, at the Whale Shark Dive.
Yeah, she was just such a wonderful help. Such a great first impression for Exmouth.
Yeah, she really was, and got us all kitted out. Even Jasper with his own little fins and snorkel mask, which he was so excited about. We also picked up some adrenaline thermal long sleeve shirts, which I tell you what, were an absolute saviour out there in that water, just keeping us that little bit warmer so that we didn't have to worry about, oh, it's getting pretty chilly out here, I'm going to head back into shore.
Yeah, it's a great point. It certainly gives you a longer experience if you're feeling comfortable in the water. Yeah. We opted for the Ocean Pro brand. Now, we're not affiliated with this brand in any way, but the price point, the quality of the materials.
Aussie brand.
Yeah, we thought this is really great. And it was actually mid-range compared to some of the prices of some of the other gear. And now that we've used it, love it, can vouch for it. You can check it out on their website, Ocean Pro.
Yeah,
great
absolutely.
Gear. Jasper even got a full steamer, as in a full wetsuit. So he's toasty warm.
Yeah, lucky little bugger. No complaints from him. There's nothing worse, though, than being out in an environment like this that is absolutely spectacular. You want to spend as much time out there in that ocean as you can, feeling cold, particularly with the winds at this particular time of year. So get yourself warm so that you can make the most of your experience.
Perfect. Okay, also in town are a couple of IGAs, which we weren't sure what that meant at first because they're literally, 15 metres apart from each other. But a local answered the question, and it was that it used to be called Farmer Joe's Grocers, I believe, something like that. And he went out of business, poor Farmer Joe. Sorry about that, mate. And so IGA snapped it up to pretty well stop any other competitor coming in. So remote prices, remote location, but an incredible range of everything you could imagine.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, like you'd get at a major shopping centre.
Yeah, that's right. We did our full grocery shops here at the IGA, and we actually ran into Exmouth a few times across the week that we were staying out in the national park to pick up additional supplies or extra bits and pieces. So the IGAs were well equipped. I mean, you're seriously remote. When you get to Exmouth, you really do realise how far you are from any other major hub. So you won't find those big supermarkets out here, but you will find everything that you need to make your stay enjoyable.
Okay, the other thing we did was head to the Visitor Information Centre in Exmouth, and they have 2 water filling stations. They charge 5 cents a litre with a $2.50 minimum. So basically 50 litres is what you're going to be able to access at a minimum to fill your tanks. And then, of course, you can fill up as much as you require. We've got 180 litres on board, 190 litres, which is 2 tanks, 2 95-litre tanks. And we filled those up, which is great. And there's also a dump point in the adjoining sports oval there as well. And they're located on the northern end of the car park if you're visiting the Visitor Information Centre.
Yeah, so great to stop in and do that before you head out to Cape Range National Park if you can and if you need to.
All right, it really is the gateway to this region and to this World Heritage listed area of the Ningaloo Coast. We drove, I think, there about 5:30 in the afternoon was probably when we were pulling through. So that's about an hour and a half before sunset. It's a golden hour, not ideal to be arriving that late. And that was after we'd shopped and, restocked and got our snorkel gear. So we pretty well made a beeline straight for our first campsite, and that was Tulkey Beach.
Which was fantastic. Before we talk about that, though, you do need a National Park Pass, of course, to come into Cape Range National Park or any of Western Australia's national parks. We picked ours up online. Very easy, very user-friendly website. Thank you very much, WA National Parks.
And good value.
Fantastic value. Look, there are a range of different passes that you can get. You do need a pass no matter whether you are visiting Cape Range for a day trip or whether you are coming out to camp. They start at $15 per vehicle per day.
And you can have up to 12 people in that vehicle.
Yep, jam all your mates in.
Legally, obviously.
we jumped online. We purchased actually a month pass, which from memory was $40. But there are different passes that you can get, ranging from an annual pass, an all parks pass, to 2, 4, 6-week holiday passes as well. So something there to suit everybody. If you haven't picked that up online before you get out to the national park, the first thing you are greeted with as you arrive to the entrance of the national park is an unmanned station where you can, of course, pull up and purchase your parks pass there.
And definitely do it. Don't think you can sneak in, because there are rangers that do patrol the area, obviously making it very safe for everyone to camp, but they also will check up on you from time to time. In fact, at most of the campgrounds, there is a camp host. Pretty well somebody that's staying there that may be a traveller themselves, having their own setup with their caravan, and they really are keeping the area well managed. Incredibly well managed, actually. The bathrooms, we're blown away. Like at every campsite, there are, I think they're called drop toilets.
Yep.
And they were the cleanest toilets that we've experienced in our travels. So really well managed park.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's, of course, where your national park fees go, to keeping it well maintained and well managed and open for people like us to come and experience.
Okay, we arrived at Tulki. We unhitched. The site is massive.
Most of the sites in Cape Range National Park are around the 12 by 7 metres size. Now, some are larger than that, some are slightly smaller than that, but they are so generous.
Yeah, which is really fantastic. And then the other part of the space is it's at a minimum 25 metres to your next camper, to your next site. So you really do feel like you've got your own space. There's none of this cramming people in. They have really designed this park incredibly well.
Oh, absolutely. And that is across all of the campgrounds within the national park, and there are plenty to choose from, and some that allow generators, some that don't allow generators, and some different things there. So you can find the perfect campground to suit your needs.
Okay, so across the dunes, only a 150-metre walk from the back of our van up through this beautiful environment, and this sunset while the osprey were all flying around and their massive nests, we went, wow, I wish we were staying for 2 weeks.
Yeah, it was the perfect beginning to this experience for us, and really, I think, just kicked in that excitement of everything that we were anticipating over the week to come.
All right, we had a pretty early night after a long travel day. We jumped in the Hilux and drove 15 minutes down the road the next morning to the Millering Discovery Centre. This, we feel, would have to be your first port of call, definitely, if you're coming to Cape Range.
Yeah, look, there's a number of reasons for this. One main one is there is very limited telco reception or service within the national park. If you are on Telstra, you will be lucky enough to find some little pockets here and there. But down at Millering Discovery Centre, you will get good service, so you'll be able to get online and do anything that you need to do. The other great reason for coming here and making this your first port of call is because each day they put up the weather reports, so you'll be able to come and see the weather for the week ahead. They also put up tide times as well, and this is really important when planning your snorkeling, as a number of the sites do rely on the tide times as to whether you can actually get out and snorkel at these popular areas. They also put up information in regards to the currents too. And again, this is very important because a lot of these swimming areas and snorkeling areas are affected by very strong currents. So it's a great place to come and just get a lay of the land. Plan out your week, your stay, however long you're there for. And there are rangers on hand here at the Discovery Centre. So if you've got any questions at all, this is the best place to go and get that information. Again,
just such a great first impression. You know, we walk in through the doors. It's air conditioned,
Yeah.
which is great.
Yes.
And we're met by a lovely lady who says, "Hey guys, welcome. How can I help?" You know, and this kind of, I guess, frontline staff experience, as we've said before, can make or break your stay.
Yeah, totally. Look, I don't know if you could work in a location like this, looking out onto this incredibly turquoise colour of the ocean and not be happy.
Yeah, it is true. Okay, you are also greeted with more whale shark merchandise. I mean, you could think of any product, it's got a whale shark on it, you know. I mean, so have your wallet if you've got your kids with you.
Yeah, look, the gift store is amazing. And I have to say I was really impressed by the quality of the things that are stocked in here as well. There are some beautiful books and handmade or local gifts and souvenirs as well. So it is high quality, good stuff.
Also, if you haven't bought your own snorkel gear, you can either purchase it here or you can hire as well, which is another great option. We found the price point low enough and our usage over the next year or so high enough that it was obviously more cost effective for us to purchase gear. Alongside this gift centre and souvenir area is almost like a mini museum.
Oh, amazing. A really interactive, interpretive centre that basically has floor to ceiling displays of all of the different ecosystems and environments that can be found in Cape Range National Park, from the ranges themselves to, of course, the coral reefs and everything in between. So to be able to walk through this and get a sense of what is on offer here and how are we going to spend our days exploring was truly awesome.
It does get you very excited because of the imagery, and as you say, you know, floor to ceiling height. There is a life-size plush on these rollers of a whale shark, which Jasper actually mounted. He was laying out like a starfish across its whole back, which he thought was pretty cool. There's also a dedicated kids area with colouring in, and you can take some of those colouring in sheets with you to do later if you like.
Yeah.
There's a beautiful video display of the underwater, as Jasper called it, wonderland that is on offer. It's just a great experience. You could spend 45 minutes to an hour and get very excited, get all the information you need to know. If you haven't booked your campsite, there's dedicated iPads to get on and book from here as well. Yeah. It's just a great discovery, as it's called, centre.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, our tip would definitely be book ahead if you can. You don't want to get out there and be disappointed. And we will talk a little bit more about this topic in our RV newsroom coming up towards the end of the episode. You can also pick up light refreshments here at the Discovery Centre, tea and coffee. We enjoyed an ice cream. They have bathroom facilities here, of course. So, yeah, a fantastic stop.
Yes. Okay. We ended up staying in 3 different campsites. There must be a dozen campsites to choose from. And these range from having, I think the smallest one might have 10 or 11 sites up to 50 sites plus. Okay, so they vary in size and they're spread out along a 70 to 80 kilometre coastline of the Ningaloo coast. We stayed at Tulki first. Fantastic. Everything that you could hope to experience on this coast. We then moved a few days later to Kurrajong.
Yes.
A much larger site, dedicated generator sites as well. Ample areas to just sit and look at that incredible reef. By the way, this reef is the largest fringing reef in Australia, one of the largest in the world. It's over 300 kilometres long.
Amazing.
Truly amazing. What's incredible is that you can see this turquoise coloured ocean along the reef, and then you can see, I guess, like the coral shelf where it drops into deep blue ocean. So that contrast is magnificent.
Yeah, look, this is so visually stunning that we do encourage you, if you haven't already, jump on over to our other YouTube channel, The Feel Good Family, and watch this episode. It is spectacular. There is no way that our words can describe how beautiful this part of WA is. You must see this footage for yourself. The drone footage in particular is just incredible.
Yes, truly amazing. Okay. From Kurrajong, we spent a couple of nights there. We realised that we were running out of water. And so we hitched the van up before we moved on to our next camp location and went back toward the Millering Discovery Centre. Maybe about 5 minutes further down the road is a bore water station. Now, this is probably the cleanest, clearest bore water I think we've ever seen.
Yeah, it was really amazing actually, and something that was a little bit of a surprise for us, because in all of our Googling and our preparations before coming out here, nothing online indicated that there was water available to fill your tanks within the national park itself. However, having this installed is such a fantastic resource for travellers to be able to pull in, fill up your tanks. Yes, it is bore water, so not suitable for drinking, but perfect for showering in, dishes, washing your hands in.
Yeah, cleaning off your snorkel gear.
Absolutely. And right there, free, easy to access, just fantastic.
And because it's only 15 minutes, or at its furthest point, probably 25 minutes from your campsite back to fill up the water, I think it's just so easy to do, particularly if you have to shuffle between sites like we did, which ended up such a gift, really. It just gave us such a broader perspective and such a better experience. And it's not that hard when you're free camping. It's only really a 15-minute turnaround to hitch and move to another site, and then 15 minutes unhitch and you're there, you know.
Absolutely.
So the other thing to point out is there's two dump points. One is located at the Millering Discovery Centre, and the other is right at the furthest point that you can travel, and that is Yardie Creek. So you're fine as well if you're wanting to use your own facilities and you have them on board, which is generally what we do. You know, it's fine. You've got somewhere to actually dump your waste.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, another good tip on that is that there's no water located at those dump points. So just make sure you've got a water container with you so that you can use it to rinse out your cassette and the area when you're done. Easy.
All right. Osprey was our next campsite. I think we'd all agreed this was our favourite location. It is rated as the number one location, and mainly because as large as it is, there is so much space between you and the next camper. I mean, I think there's two separate sections of Osprey. There'd have to be 80 to 100 campsites, but it is pretty well booked out all the time. You're very lucky to get in here, but you have these uninterrupted views of this incredible Osprey Bay.
Absolutely. Every single site can see that gorgeous ocean out in front. Again, you can literally walk straight off the beach access and be snorkeling coral in 5 minutes. You know, it's quite amazing.
There's a natural boat ramp as well for smaller boats. So if you've got a tinny on the roof, or you're towing something like that, very easy. You just literally roll it off the beach and into the ocean.
Yeah.
Wow. Just an incredible location that we felt we could have spent weeks at.
Yes, most definitely. There's something really amazing about looking out onto that incredible view and the ocean from, you know, inside your van through the windows, or sitting out under the awning and just being able to take in that view. Okay,
let's talk about some of the other highlights briefly, because we really could talk about this for hours. Oyster Stacks is the number one rated location for snorkeling, and it did not disappoint. It is truly breathtaking. It is crystal clear. There is colourful coral. There is endless species of fish. I mean, it was the highlight for all of us was the time we spent in the ocean, and in particular at Oyster Stacks.
Yeah.
You do have to abide by the signage, which is dependent on the tides. There were 2 days of the 7 days that you were not allowed to enter the water because the tide was too low.
Mm-hmm.
So really, I think it's above a 1.2 metre tide to 1.4 metre tide is when you are allowed to. So again, back to the Discovery Centre, make sure you know that tide information, because you would be very disappointed if you got there and you couldn't go in.
Yeah, that's right. That's a good tip, Paul. And the rangers do such a fantastic job at making this information accessible as well. There is a board at Oyster Stacks too, where they put up that information, so you could head there at the start of your week or your time in the national park, get a scope for what the tides are doing and make that plan, because they are short windows of a few hours each day that you can actually get out. But absolutely amazing. This is where Jasper stuck his little head up out of the water, took his snorkel out of his mouth and shouted out to me, "It's a wonderland down there." I mean, you can't write these experiences for your children. It is just... that was goosebump good.
Goosebump now, just thinking about it. That's so spot on, Katie.
Yeah.
Okay, the other highlight areas really came about because of the weather. Anything after 11 a.m., where they're in November, is pretty well windy. Blowvember, as they refer to it, right?
Oh, Blowvember.
So, again, that's tidal dependent. You've only got these short windows, so don't think, I'll go do that tomorrow. If you've got good weather and you've got the tide right, do it straight away.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's another good tip. Corrie Bay is located right next to the Millering Discovery Centre, and T-Bone Bay is there as well. These are great locations if it's windy. So we even went there in the afternoon. One afternoon we went there and just had a walk along, watched all of the turtles
bobbing their heads up.
Beautiful. It would be a great location to swim with them if you wanted to do that. We didn't have our snorkel gear with us that day, so make sure you've got your snorkel gear in the back.
Another good tip.
The back of the truck all the time. And then T-Bone Bay as well was really good because it's a great location to practice snorkeling. If you've got little ones like Jasper really just learning, it was a great way for us to be in perfect sandy bottom, flat, clear water, and for him to still see fish life and get that initial excitement and that, I guess that addiction, bang, he's in.
Yep.
Yeah. And that way when we got to Oyster Stacks, he was raring and ready to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Great point. And it is a very sheltered lagoon area, so a really nice spot just to go and swim and enjoy the water without the wind.
All right. We're going to wrap up talking about this location because, it is at every day a surprise. There is something that just makes you go, wow, okay. The takeaway for this week I want to share because I got this basically from a camper that was next to us, a backpacker in his rooftop van, and that was that a swim in the ocean is as good as a shower.
So they say.
I love this, and I think it's true to a degree, especially if you're like feeling a bit salty.
Yeah, well, yes, we certainly did feel salty after our time in Cape Range National Park, and look, the salt content of the water is high. It is very salty water, but there are no shower facilities anywhere within the national park. So unless you are fully self-contained, have your own shower on board, you will be having a few swims.
Look, the real takeaway is be prepared.
Yeah.
With all of these tips, have snorkel gear on board or be prepared to pay a higher fee. Get out early, pre-book your site, and either have some really good wipes so you can have a bit of an English shower, as I call it, or swim in the ocean. All right? Yeah. That's right. There are bathroom facilities, but that is it. Okay, let's get on to the newsroom, and it's very relevant this week, and that is around no-shows. Now, if you are a camper or a traveller, you probably have experienced this along your travels, and that is when you go to book online on national parks and it's booked out. And then you might find one site for 2 days, so you stay there and you get there and say there's 10 sites, 3 of them are empty, but they're showing as fully booked. It is so frustrating, isn't it?
It is, and we really, I guess, had our eyes open to this in the process of trying to book these sites at Cape Range National Park. They are, without a doubt, some of Western Australia's most popular camping sites within the national park here, and so they do book out all the time. However, unfortunately, for whatever reason, they are not used for those bookings.
I think because the price point is $20 a night, basically, for a site. If you're booking for a week and you're getting on and you're pre-booking, months or a year in advance, $140, most people could risk losing. So let's just secure that. Okay, where this comes into effect in the newsroom part of it is that this problem is even bigger in the US. And so the national parks over there and wildlife parks are starting to introduce some new rules around this. And that is that you can still get on and book, but if you are a no-show, 24 hours later, they haven't heard from you, or, the reason why you're running late, or that you're cancelling, they open that site back up.
Which is fantastic, actually, and something that hopefully our national parks system will adopt as well. We found in particular when we were looking at these campsites through Wikicamps, the app, that where normally you would find reviews, oh, this is a great campsite, oh, we loved this, about this campsite, the thread, the string of review comments are all about people looking for, does anybody have a space available for these dates? So in effect, what should be a space where people can talk about the good, the bad, the ugly of the campsites, it is becoming like a booking system in itself. So hopefully at some point, particularly with Cape Range, they look at some sort of better system, because what I found when reading through those comments was that a lot of people put up, hey guys, we can't make it for whatever reason. We've had mechanical trouble, we're delayed, we can't get there. We've booked a site, it's going to be free, but nobody can in effect do anything about it. So here's hoping that some system changes come into play to make it more accessible for people, and so that people don't get out there and then have all of these sites for free that can't be booked.
Look, every site is a good site.
Yeah.
That would be our advice, because we were scouring through and going, 13, let's see what it looks like on Google Earth, and maybe number 27's a better site. Psh, don't waste your time.
Every site's amazing.
Just book a site.
Yeah, you're there.
Look, another way that popped in my head that may work is to hold a security fee, Maybe, do you hold a $500 security fee? Is that out of reach for some people?
Yeah, look, I don't know. I think it may be. They're trying to keep, these low-cost campsites accessible for every kind of traveller. And look, we saw every kind of traveller while we were out there. People camping in tents, people camping in, their little vans, people camping in rooftops, and then, of course, people like us in their full caravans and motorhomes. So there is a better way. What that is, I'm not sure yet, but hopefully at some stage we do look to adopt some of these processes and changes that the US are currently putting in place. Yeah,
if you've got an idea out there, jump over to our website, all the W's, thefeelgoodfamily.com.au, drop us a line, get in touch, let us know if you've got an idea or you've seen a version of this that is working somewhere else, either here in Australia or around the world. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, awesome.
Okay, one other quick news item, which we love because we just spent time here, and that was in Broome, world famous Cable Beach. I mean, particularly when there's international travel, people travel to Australia just to go to Cable Beach. It is famous for its epic sunsets over the ocean. the turtle nesting season started when we were there. So they had introduced a closing of the beach access from 8 p.m. through to 6 a.m. the next morning in October. And that's when we were there. The new news item on this is that they're going to be actually closing the entire beach in December and January. Now, it is the low season because it is so hot, still regarded as a wet season up there. They don't get a lot of rain, but when they do, it's torrential. So there's, I guess, a lot less people to upset, and it's believed that it's going to give these little hatchlings an 80% increase in survival.
Yeah, look, this is really interesting. And of course, they're not closing the beach to pedestrian traffic. It is only to four-wheel drive, people driving on the beach. And the number one reason when I was reading up on this is because they're finding a huge number of these turtle hatchlings are getting caught up in the tyre marks left by the vehicles. Now, interestingly, these baby turtles are born with a certain amount of energy, I suppose, and it is a long way for them, once hatching out of their shells, to get down to that water's edge. And that energy source needs to last them the first 3 days of their life until they start feeding.
Wow.
And so they're saying that by reducing these, I guess, these challenges, these obstacles in their first trek down this sandy beach to the ocean, that's going to be reserving those energy stocks for them and give them a better chance in life. Look, 1 in 1,000 of these hatchlings will actually make it to adulthood and return to Cable Beach to lay their own eggs, which it's quite frightening, that statistic. So any chance, I think, that we can give these hatchlings to reach that milestone is good news.
I love it. Look, it's not going to actually come into effect until 2022, December 2022. So they'll get through this season. They'll do some more, I guess, consultation with the tourism operators as well.
Yeah, that's right. The decision is still not 100% locked in. It is awaiting that finalisation by Broomshire.
And it will be very intensely watched, I think, by the coast tourism operators even further south, because 80 Mile Beach, all of this coastal area here is a major nesting ground for, I think it's 6 species of turtle. So, yeah, I think this might set a precedent, and a good one, I feel.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you think it's such a short period of time and the impact on us humans is so minimal, I think it's a great decision.
Awesome. Okay, a couple of other highlights I just looked at my notes and remembered to mention, and that is the Mildura shipwreck.
Oh yes, just on the outskirts of the Cape Range National Park as you're coming over the tip from Exmouth. That was awesome to be able to go out, and again, some great interpretive signage there to advise what actually took place and how this Mildura shipwrecked. And it's just off the coast as well. Again, the drone shots that we managed to get were just spectacular. And off the back of the Mildura shipwrecking is the Vlamming Point Lighthouse that was installed here, which again, just beautiful, worth driving up onto the point and taking in those epic views out towards the coral reef. Yeah,
look, these are 2 definite places to visit. Yeah, so add them to your list. All right.
We could talk about this place
I think that's it.
For so long.
Next week, we are actually going to finish up our experience at Cape Range National Park. We get to explore Yardie Creek on a boat tour.
Fantastic.
The wildlife here is amazing. And that's not just below the ocean as well. We're also going to take you on another pretty epic road trip down the coast. We're getting closer to Perth.
Kind of,
yeah. To Kalbarri and to visit this spectacular national park.
Yeah. Awesome.
All right. For now, we're going to leave you there. Say dream big, look after yourself. Look after your family.
And happy trails.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. See you soon.
See you next week. We are the Feel Good Family, an ordinary Aussie family that is travelling full-time around Australia. We knew there had to be a better way, so 2 years ago we made a plan, packed up our lives, sold everything we owned and made travel our new lifestyle. We've never even owned a tent, so totally green with our four-wheel drive and van in tow, we hit the road and are exploring this great country of ours, learning as we go and making the most of our time together. They say you only get 18 summers with your kids. Now doesn't that make you stop and think? Australia is the great southern land with the world's whitest sand, the world's largest rock, the world's oldest culture and the world's cleanest air. We want to explore every corner of this great country. Join us each week as we bring you the best destinations, experiences and Aussie characters that we can find. We hope this inspires you to take a step toward whatever your dream is, because if we can do it, you can too. A new destination every week right here on YouTube.